Recognizing the member for Vancouver Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. This day happens every year on May 17th to commemorate the World Health Organization decision in 1990 to declassify homosexuality as a mental disorder. May 17th is now celebrated in more than 130 countries, including 37 where same-sex acts are illegal. We owe so much to the tireless advocates who have fought in the courts, marched in the streets, and raised their voices to drive progress and create a more equal world for LGBTQ2+ people in every country. But we still have much work to do. Here in Canada, a Statistics Canada report released just last year found that in Canada, the sexual minorities are almost 3 times more likely to experience violent victimization than other people in Canada. 59% of LGBTQ2+ people said that they have been assaulted at some point since the age of 15. 11% of sexual minority Canadians said that they have been physically or sexually assaulted in the previous 12 months. That's compared to only 4% of other Canadians. Similar troubling differences were found to exist in the workplace, where they are more frequently experienced unwanted sexual attention and verbal abuse. These statistics are stark and challenging to hear, but they mask the individual stories of mental and physical trauma that never leaves the victim of the violence and hatred associated with this abuse. Early in 2021, a girl was physically assaulted at her school in Mission, and a video of the assault was heavily circulated on social media, causing more trauma. This child's mother reported frequent bullying and homophobic slurs towards this young girl at her school. It is hard to think of the lasting trauma upon this girl and the loss of safety, security, mental, and physical hurt. Or the story of a long-term resident of Vancouver saying he no longer feels safe in the city after 2 attacks in a year while he was walking on the street. Or the deep psychological harm that comes from the troubling practice of conversion therapy that still occurs in this country and has damaging and long-lasting impacts upon its victims. Victims like Matthew, who said publicly, "I don't think we're ever meant to fully recover from something like conversion therapy. It's traumatizing, particularly because it can destroy relationships and also teaches us to undermine ourselves and our feelings. It's discouraging to see LGBTQ2+ rights being pitted against religious freedom. But I think that serves as a wake-up call for many people that we can't go on treating people like this. Attempting to treat or change a person's sexual or gender identity is unethical, contrary to human rights, and risks exposing those affected to lifelong trauma. Conversion therapy is already prohibited in our public healthcare system in BC, and health professionals are prevented from billing for this service. In August 2019, government sent a letter to the Federal Minister of Justice and Attorney General calling on the federal government to add this harmful practice of conversion therapy to the criminal code. I was pleased to see the introduction of federal legislation responding to the community's and the government's call to action. This legislation must include specific protection for children who are at the highest risk of being forced into conversion therapy. Every individual has the right to love and be loved by whoever they want. Every individual should have the freedom to be their true selves in our democracy. We are all legislators in a country that aspires for equal rights for all Canadians. As our charter says, every person is equal before and under the law and has the right to the equal protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination. As our Supreme Court has articulated, our goal as a government is the promotion of a society in which all are secure in the knowledge that they are recognized at law as human beings equally deserving of concern, respect, and consideration. As legislators, the Charter asks us to continually critically examine and ensure that our decisions steer us in the direction of achieving these goals. This means taking actions like reinstating the BC Human Rights Commission, promoting sexual orientation and gender identity awareness in schools, giving people a non-binary gender option on government ID, improving access to gender-affirming surgeries, and updating regulations to remove gendered language. It's on days like these that we can listen, learn, and understand how we can do better. As Martin Luther King and many other leaders have said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It bends from our collective will and determination to achieve the goals as stated in our charter. May we all work hard to ensure that all LGBTQ2+ people don't just feel safe, but are thriving. So I express my solidarity on this International Day against homophobia, transphobia, and biphobia, and hope for the day when all these phobias are history. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.